What are the differences between Kanban and Scrum in project management? In project management, different methodologies and frameworks are applied depending on the project type and its parameters. One of the most popular project management methodologies is Agile. Under the Agile umbrella, there are frameworks like Scrum, Kanban, and Extreme Programming or XP. In this video, we'll discuss Kanban and Scrum specifically, including their major differences, similarities, and benefits. We'll also discuss Scrumban, a hybrid approach that combines aspects of these two unique Agile frameworks. The origins of Agile project management revolve around the Agile Manifesto, a set of 12 principles and 4 values that encourage continuous delivery, technical excellence, and efficient collaboration. Agile principles can be adapted across industries and team sizes. Depending on the team and project, Agile can be interpreted and implemented through frameworks like Scrum and Kanban. Kanban and Scrum execute Agile in contrasting ways, through their own specific workflows and processes. Let's first take a look at Agile Scrum project management. Scrum is an Agile framework that relies on roles, ceremonies, and time-boxed events for fast-paced, incremental delivery. Scrum teams work in 1 to 4 week cycles called sprints. During a sprint, a defined amount of backlog items are worked on and completed during that time-boxed period. There are 3 main human roles in Agile Scrum. These roles are Product Owner, Scrum Master, and Development Team. The Product Owner is in charge of prioritizing and maintaining items in the backlog. The Scrum Master acts as a coach by clearing obstacles and upholding Agile principles, often known as a servant leader. The Development Team often includes designers, programmers, engineers, and testers. They are the experts who do the day-to-day work. As we mentioned earlier, ceremonies are important in Agile Scrum development. In this framework, ceremonies, also known as events, are meetings that take place in order to advance the sprint and overall project goals. The 4 Scrum ceremonies are sprint planning, daily Scrum meetings, sprint reviews, and sprint retrospectives. Sprint planning is a Scrum event where the backlog and sprint goal are established. The daily Scrum is a forum for team members to share their progress and elaborate on what they are working on for the day. At the end of the sprint comes the sprint review, where the team gets together to review the work that was completed and share feedback. Finally comes the sprint retrospective. In this meeting, the entire team reflects on processes and identifies areas for improvement. These processes enable Scrum teams to prioritize important tasks and features, collaborate efficiently, offer feedback, and constantly improve. Each Scrum ceremony and role is vital to the process and leans on important values and principles of Agile. Kanban project management also interprets Agile for the goal of speedy delivery and continuous improvement. However, increased flexibility distinguishes it from its Scrum counterpart. Let's explore the basics of Kanban. Unlike Agile Scrum, Kanban does not place emphasis on roles and ceremonies. Instead, Kanban is a framework that prioritizes efficient workflow management and visualization. The word Kanban has Japanese origins and can be roughly translated as signboard or visual card. Popularized by Japanese auto manufacturer Toyota in the 1940s, this framework has 4 principles: visualize workflow, limit work in progress, focus on flow, and continuous improvement. In Kanban, tasks and priorities are represented using cards that move from columns labeled to do, doing, and done via a tool called a Kanban board. For Kanban boards, 3 columns are usually the norm, but another columns, such as testing, may be included if necessary. Limiting the work in progress is an important Kanban principle, meaning there should not be an excessive amount of work in the doing column. This type of complexity should be avoided. While very different from one another, both Kanban and Scrum emphasize continuous process improvement, an original tenet of the Agile Manifesto. While Scrum does this explicitly through reviews and retrospectives, Kanban process improvement is more implicit. Through its very nature, Kanban highlights inefficiencies in the workflow, enabling teams to understand where and why bottlenecks and hiccups occur. Let's explore more differences and similarities between Kanban and Agile Scrum. What are the major differences between Scrum and Kanban? Though Scrum and Kanban are both based on Agile principles and values, these two frameworks are distinct in their processes. Think of it like two different dialects of the same language. Scrum teams work in cycles, and each cycle is punctuated by reviews, retrospectives, daily stand-ups, and sprint planning meetings. These meetings help address impediments, communicate progress, and improve future sprints. Kanban, on the other hand, is about visualizing and optimizing the workflow. Meetings are optional and much less critical to carrying out day-to-day work. When it comes to jobs and titles, Scrum teams rely on defined roles like Product Owner, Scrum Master, and Development Team. Kanban does not assign designated roles and can maintain existing team structures. Need to pivot? Scrum teams should consider this one carefully. Avoid major mid-sprint changes that could endanger the sprint goal. Changes in Kanban can be managed much more easily. Work flows steadily in the Kanban framework. Instead of working on a few prioritized items in the backlog, which is the case with Scrum sprints, Kanban teams move continuously through to-do items while taking care to minimize complexity by limiting the work in progress. Overall, Scrum is a more structured approach to executing Agile, while Kanban is flexible, focusing on workflow management rather than team roles and ceremonies. But is there a way to get the best of both worlds when it comes to Scrum and Kanban? The answer you're looking for may be a hybrid Scrumban approach. As Agile frameworks, Scrum and Kanban are valuable in their own ways. In choosing a hybrid Scrumban approach, teams can leverage and combine the structure of Scrum with the process flexibility of Kanban. Scrumban is often an option for teams transitioning from Scrum to Kanban. Scrumban borrows Kanban's workflow visualization board and pull system, taking tasks from the to-do column to doing when they're ready to be worked on. No specified roles and work in progress or WIP limits are other carryovers from Kanban. Scrum lends some structure to the process. Scrumban iterations typically last 2 weeks and replace Scrum sprints. Scrumban also reintroduces the daily stand-up and allows teams to choose which other Scrum events are important to add to their workflow. Additionally, on-demand planning in this framework means that when the work in progress falls below a certain level, a planning meeting is triggered. Less rigid than Scrum, Scrumban is customizable in many ways, allowing teams to pick and choose how to implement the framework for their specific project. Whether you're choosing Kanban, Scrum, or a hybrid Scrumban approach for your next project, make sure your teams have the right tools to get it all done. Prioritize work with Wrike boards and team dashboards. Build custom workflows and organize sprints and iterations with ease. Agile planning is simple when you choose Wrike. Learn more about project management and planning by checking out our other videos, guides, and resources.